First in high definition. Live, local, late breaking. This is WMBF News Today at 5.
A fire in Florence County damages a used car lot. We've got updated video and all the developments from overnight from the scene.
A recent string of robberies has many of you concerned. I have the most recent crime stats and whether or not there really is an increasing trend.
And on the day before her inaugural event, Governor Nikki Haley is talking about what her plans are to improve the Palmetto State and if she has her eyes set on the White House. But first, a dense fog advisory has just expired. Marla, are there any lingering conditions that folks need to know about before they head out the door?
We are still dealing with some light fog, but one thing I want to touch on real fast because it's new information just into the First Alert Weather Center. The National Weather Service has already started issuing advisories for tomorrow morning. So again, this is tomorrow morning's advisories. We've got winter weather and then freezing rain advisories. Our main concern is going to be right around the border belt. I will have more information in detail on this coming up at 5:15, but let's get you out the door this morning. Right now, looking at just light fog, nothing that's going to slow you down too much across the Grand Strand and PD. And the good news is these conditions are steadily improving. Here's a live look from downtown Florence. You see that light fog there in the distance, but notice no issues there on the road. As far as satellite and radar goes, we are rain free, dealing with a little bit of cloud cover. You saw the fog, the low clouds there on our sky cam. And temperatures this morning pretty mild for the Grand Strand, 55 in Myrtle Beach, 48 in Florence. We do have a chance of rain today, so I'll have the details on that. And of course, the winter weather that we're possibly expecting coming up at 5:15.
Bracing for impact on that one, Marla. Thank you so much. We have an update to breaking news. We first brought you at 11 last night. This is brand new video from a fire at the Hotspot Wholesale. That's a used car dealership on South Irby Street. The House Springs Fire Department responded to that blaze. More than 30 firefighters in all were at the scene. Crews stayed posted there till midnight after putting the flames out to watch for any hot spots. The cause of that fire still under investigation this morning. No one was injured. We'll bring you the latest updates as they come into the newsroom here. You know, we've seen a rash of armed robberies in just about every nearby city and county recently. One of the most recent crimes was committed there on Oceans Boulevard at the Oceans One Resort in Myrtle Beach. Katrina Helmer joins us there live this morning with more on these recent cases.
Police officers across Horry County are telling me that although it may feel like there are more and more armed and violent robberies, that's just not necessarily the case. In fact, the numbers show that we're doing pretty well. Lieutenant Crosby with the Myrtle Beach Police Department tells me that from November 1st through the first week of January, they're actually down 3 armed robberies from this same time last year. Lieutenant Crosby tells me there tends to be more robberies than thefts during the holidays. Then we'll hit a lull before car break-ins start to ramp up for the summer. So right now the priority is to snag the wanted criminals that are still on the run. One of the top crimes on their radar in Myrtle Beach is this past weekend's armed robbery at Oceans One Resort. On Saturday, a man threatened the front desk clerk with a gun and demanded money from the safe. Lieutenant Crosby says the Myrtle Beach Police Department is lucky that none of the recent robberies have been deadly so far, but no matter how violent the crime, these accused criminals must be held accountable.
What we try to do is we try to get the pictures out as quickly as possible. That way we can educate the public to help us if they see whoever may have committed the crime. They can call us and let us know who the person is.
In Conway, Lieutenant Selena Small says there are actually 25 robberies in 2013 and there were 26 in 2014. The city of Conway just recently released pictures of 4 suspects wanted in different gas station robberies. And a high-profile case in Horry County has one gas station offering a $10,000 reward for any information about the suspects accused of killing a gas station clerk in Longs. We have all these recent cases with the different police department phone numbers on our website, WMBFnews.com. Reporting live in Myrtle Beach, Katrina Helmer, WMBF News.
All right, thank you, Katrina. And this morning, 2 men are facing charges after shots were fired on Gray Street, right off of Mr. Joe White Avenue. Myrtle Beach police have arrested and now charged William Campbell with attempted murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Desmond Chestnut faces the charge of attempted murder. Right now, 2 others connected to this case are still on the loose. Police say Rondrick Smith and Jamal Daniels should be considered armed and dangerous. Back on January 5th, a woman told police that her car was shot at, causing $1,500 in damages. Investigators say they believe it was in retaliation. If you know where these 2 men are, call police. And Myrtle Beach police are also looking for a man accused of stealing 4 24 packs of beer from Lowe's Foods. An employee followed Donald Love to the parking lot, and they actually watched him put that beer right in his car before driving off. It happened at the store near 82nd Parkway. Love's last known address is 4389 East Daphne Lane in Murrells Inlet. If you know where he might be, call police. Happening today, South Carolina is taking a stand against domestic violence. Attorney General Alan Wilson will join sheriffs, police chiefs, victims advocacy groups, and others on the State House steps at 11:30 a.m. It is a push to get lawmakers to pass tougher domestic violence penalties before the end of the year. Florence County Sheriff Kenny Boone is expected to attend. Red and blue silhouettes honoring domestic violence victims will be part of that event, and it is open to the public.
At 5:05 right now on this Tuesday, 3 adults, 2 kids recovering from smoke inhalation after their motel rooms caught fire. Police in North Carolina say it happened on the 2nd floor of the Raleigh Inn. The building did not have a sprinkler system, and flames spread quickly from the 1st to the 2nd to the 3rd floor. The firewall helped keep those flames from spreading to even more rooms.
Well, I just heard everybody banging on the door saying we need to get out. And once I came around the front side, I just seen all the fire. Yeah.
And then what was your first instinct?
To get away from the building, I mean. That's my first thing, to get my baby and my wife and my kids away. So, yeah.
At least 87 people must now find a new place to stay. Officials say many of those use that motel for long-term housing. The Red Cross is helping those families. And the American Red Cross is in need of volunteers to help families just like the ones you just saw. If you're interested in joining a disaster action team, the Myrtle Beach Red Cross is holding an orientation tonight from 6 until 9. And for those of you in the PD, the Florence office will be holding that same kind of session February 3rd from 6 until 8:30 p.m. Volunteers make up 96% of the Red Cross workforce. A family out of their home in Darlington after a fire. Darlington City fire officials say they arrived at the home on Strickland Terrace, but the family was not inside at the time. Crews were able to get that blaze under control in about 15 minutes. 35% of the home was heavily damaged by the fire. The rest of that house suffered heat and smoke damage. The cause of that fire still under investigation, and the family has another place to stay while repairs are being made.
Right now, the search is on to find the man accused of trying to abduct a child. Myrtle Beach police say this happened in the area of Porcher Drive Sunday. The child told investigators that she was walking her dog when the man pulled up beside her in a black four-door car and asked her if she could help him find his dog. The child said no and ran away, but then she says the man then pulled up beside her again and told her that if she didn't come with him, he would hurt her. She was able to get away. And the suspect is described as a white male with blue eyes, and he's missing the corners of his top teeth. And a heads up right now for those of you in Lake City, smoke testing will be going on through March in the sewer system. It will be happening between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So if you see smoke coming from manholes around the town, don't be alarmed. And we're learning more about the push to get more jobs in the PD. The city of Florence has approved a more than $600,000 incentives package to encourage the developer of a project called Project Morgan to move downtown. Florence Mayor Stephen Wokila tells us the money will be used to secure the company's location of choice, the Bo Smith building. The company is promising to bring 60 new service industry jobs to the area. The city of Myrtle Beach will hold a criminal records free clinic tonight at 6:30. This is happening at the Chapin Memorial Library on 14th Avenue North. You'll be able to get questions answered about arrests or convictions taken off of your record. There will be a 30 to 45-minute presentation before that question and answer session.
The inaugural events for Governor Nikki Haley will begin tomorrow.
And in the Raycom News Network report, the governor talks about ethics reform, gas taxes, and more.
If he's indicted by a grand jury, will you suspend him?
Yes.
In a one-on-one interview with Governor Haley, I talked to her about Sheriff Wayne DeWitt's arrest on charges of drunk driving and leaving the scene of an accident.
You know, I mean, elected officials have to be held to a higher standard. It's not an easy life that we lead, but we know when we take that oath of office that there's a responsibility that comes with it. And when there is a lack of responsibility, there's a price to pay for that.
The governor also told me the fall from power of former Speaker of the House Bobby Harrell is part of a larger picture of ethical failures.
It's not just Bobby Harrell. It's bigger than that. If you look at the last 4 years, we've indicted a lieutenant governor. We've indicted a state senator. We've indicted the Speaker of the House. And I've removed 8 sheriffs. And that doesn't even count what we've done in our cabinet agencies. This has been cleanup time.
The governor knows our highways and bridges are in terrible shape in this state. In fact, it's estimated it will cost billions to fix them. But she says raising the gas tax is not the way to pay for those repairs.
It's easy to just say, let's raise the gas tax. But I'm not going to allow the business climate of this state to slow down in a time that we're getting all these jobs for the people of South Carolina just because people say, oh, maybe we need to increase another tax.
I also asked her what would happen if one of her friends became president, like former Florida Governor Jeb Bush or New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and one of them offered her a job, maybe even picking her as a vice presidential choice. She told me she's got a job to do right here in South Carolina.
So you're staying put?
I'm staying put.
No matter what?
I'm not going anywhere.
And we have more details on how much money Governor Nikki Haley raised toward her second victory over Vincent Shaheen. According to the state newspaper, the governor raised $8.4 million for her re-election bid. Shaheen raised about half that, $3.7 million. Most of his money came from in-state donors. 75% of Haley's came from in-state donors as well. With a murder case against an ex-South Carolina police chief accused of shooting an unarmed man ends in a mistrial. We'll tell you why the judge could not hand down a verdict.
But right after the break, the falling temperatures could create the chance for some icy conditions. When and where that might happen, I'll have those details in my First Alert forecast.